What if you got paid $300 for every product that you listed for sale on Etsy? How many products would you list? Now, I know that sounds way too good to be true, but that's what happened with my shop, and I'm going to prove it to you today. Posting products for sale on Etsy is like planting a seed that if it sprouts, you'll make thousands of dollars, and if it doesn't, all you lose is the 20 cents that it costs you to post it. This is the beauty of Etsy dropshipping. Now, I've grown multiple shops into the 6-figure and even into that 7-figure range. And today I'm going to break down the simple framework that you can use to figure out how much you're going to make each time you post a listing for sale. This formula has 3 different elements because customers have very predictable shopping behavior, and I call it the metrics funnel. This metrics funnel runs off of 3 pieces of data, the first being views, which are sometimes called impressions. When customers search for a type of product that they're interested in buying, your product might show up in the Etsy search results, and when it does, that counts as a view. Then when a customer fully decides to look at one of the product listings closer, they'll click on it, adding our second metric called a visit. Your visits are how many of the people who viewed your product actually clicked on it. Then finally, we have conversions, which are how many of those visitors chose to favorite, add to cart, or even purchase your product, which tells you how many people actually liked the product and if it met their expectations. These 3 elements together, views, visits, and conversions, make up the metrics funnel. Since Etsy has millions of people who visit their site to shop each month, this process happens millions of times every day, which means that you just need a very small fraction of the traffic to end up on your listings. This metrics funnel is how I'm able to make over $300 per listing that I post for sale, and it's what allows you to predict how much money you'll make from each listing that you post, and I'll prove it. Analytics or stats, whatever you want to call it, this data shows you the story of your customer's shopping journey, and we can use it to watch and predict how customers behave over time. And by the way, this is data that Etsy displays right on your dashboard, so you can see the views, visits, and your orders or conversions, and you can check multiple different time frames if you'd like. The longer the time frame, the more accurate the data. Interacting with our business and improve our product listings to make each one sell more often. Analytics or stats, whatever you want to call it, this data shows you your customer's shopping journey, and we can use it to watch and predict how customers behave over time, interacting with our business, and improving our product listings to make each one sell more often. Just these 3 data points track each step of the customer shopping process so we can identify when they're seeing our product listings, if they're visiting them, and if they meet the expectations and like it enough to actually buy. The thing is that as you move down the funnel, a percentage of your views will turn into visits, and a percentage of your visits will convert into sales. This means that your only job is to make listings and then optimize them for each stage of the metrics funnel to push customers down the funnel. Now, to be very clear, you're not going to start out posting each listing and making $300 back immediately, but over time you can get there, and this is how I've optimized to get to this point. Now, at the very top of the funnel, we have our views. Now, views are counted as any time your product shows up in the Etsy search algorithm or search results, whether that's on desktop or a mobile device, and a customer has the chance to click on it. Each listing that you post into the search algorithm will act as a net, catching some of the views from the shoppers who are already coming to buy products on Etsy. Now, the second level of your funnel is your visits. Now, a visit is counted as any time a customer clicks on your product listing or even visits your product shop. Basically, anytime a customer is interested enough to check out what it is you're actually selling. And third is your conversions. Now, a conversion may be counted a few different ways, but it's anytime a customer interacts with your product. So it might be favoriting it, it might be adding it to cart, or it might be straight up buying it if they really like what they see. The percentage of people moving through your funnel all the way allows you to estimate how much you get paid for each listing that you post. Now, to fill up the funnel, you have to have products positioned in the Etsy algorithm available for customers to see and buy. By getting your product listings in the Etsy algorithm, you sort of cast a net, catching some of these potential buyers. The more products that you make, the more nets you're catching into the algorithm, which means the more that you're filling at least that top level of your funnel, and the more money you'll make overall. Having listings posted for sale is how you start filling up that first level of the funnel. You have to get views somehow. If your shop and products aren't getting any views, then you're not going to get any visits and definitely not any sales. The funnel makes it super easy to address the underlying issue at each stage. For example, if you're hardly getting any views, then there could be several reasons, but the core underlying issue is that you have a marketing problem. To get more views, you either need to pay for those views by running more ads to your product listings, or you need to post more products, casting more nets in the Etsy algorithm. The reason that you're not getting any views on your products is either that you haven't posted enough products for sale, or that those products aren't showing up in Etsy search. This is why you have to get better at posting more listings with Etsy search optimized keywords. It's very simple. If you're not getting views, your marketing strategy isn't working, so you need to make adjustments to generate more views, and that might mean just posting more listings for sale. Now, once we do have a good amount of views coming in, we can move down a level to see how many visits we're getting. Now, if you want some game here, for my optimized top performing 6 and 7 figure shops that have thousands of listings, about 40 to 50% of the views that I get will convert into visits. Again, this makes it super easy to diagnose, because if you're not getting at least maybe a 30% click through from your views to visits, it means that your marketing is working, you're getting a lot of views, but they're not converting and they're not clicking on your products. This means one of two simple things happened. Either your keywords are misleading the Etsy algorithm and it's showing your products to the wrong customers, or more likely, your listing isn't convincing enough to click on. If you're using my free traffic strategy, then your keywords likely aren't the issue here, but instead it's an issue with the design and mockup combination that you're using. Remember, you have to convince potential customers to click on your listing instead of someone else's, and there are a lot of options here. Now, since the image preview is small, especially on mobile devices, typically if people aren't clicking on your listings, then it's because of the mockup image. You have to make it more attractive than all of the other options that they can choose from. But if you do already know that the mockups you're using are proven to work time and time again by 7 and 8 figure shops, then it's probably the product design, so you can move on to just designing a new product entirely. When someone clicks on your listing, they'll either leave right away and nothing happens, or you'll get a conversion event, such as they like or favorite it, they'll add it to cart, or if you get lucky, they might even buy it right away. In my opinion, any conversion is a good conversion. So for example, from my 6 and 7 figure shops, typically I'll get about 8 to 14% or 10% on average to favorite the listings, and then I'll get about 3% to actually go ahead and place orders and buy from me. In practice, on average, for every 100 views that my product listings get in my top performing shops with optimized listings, about 40 to 50% of the views will go ahead and visit the product listings or visit my shop. About 3 to 5 people will favorite the listing, and about 1.2 people will buy that listing on average. Some days it's a lot less, some days it's a lot more, but this is my all-time average. You can watch this vary day to day, but for example, it's around 9 a.m., so I only have roughly a third of the data for the day, and I'll put the ratios on screen so you can see what they are. I actually think it's a little worse today than it is on average. But this is super important because if we go ahead and look at the all-time stats, I just give this a second to load. Okay, there we go. And I can just refresh so that you know it's legit. And you can see that we have roughly 40% of our views turning into visits, and then actually about 4%, so a little higher, of those visits turning into orders, resulting in about $1.2 million of revenue for this one shop. The reason that this data matters so much is because this shop has been completely built on the Etsy algorithm using free Etsy search to drive all of the sales. There was no paid advertising to get to this point. All it took was just shy of 4,000 listings. So $1.2 million in revenue divided by 4,000 listings. This shop, I think it was actually a little less than that, means that I've been paid over $300 to post each listing in this shop. Now that is in revenue, which still counts towards the value of the business. But even if you take the 30% profit margin this shop is running, that means that I'm still making $90 of profit per listing that I post in this shop. Hopefully you can see how addressing each level of the metrics funnel will allow you to optimize your products for each stage of the customer shopping journey, from marketing to packaging to meeting the customer's expectations of that product when they land on it. Over time, this increases the amount of money that you make off of each listing. You get more money out of each listing that you post, and the more listings that you post, the more data you collect and can optimize for. If you want to learn how you can optimize your listings for free traffic in the Etsy search algorithm, you can go check out this video that I made, and I'll see you over there.